my name is Belly
And if you are subscribed, that's wonderful.
yay! Today is 15th of January and actually it's pretty cold, as you can see. There is no one in here. But today is an amazing and wonderful day for presenting my friend that you can see over here. His name is Dale Hurst, and he is one writer based here in Bournemouth. So that's brilliant, don't you think so? Can you say hi to the camera?
I will. Hey everybody, my name is Dale Hurst. As Belly says, yeah, I'm an author and broadcaster based here in Bournemouth. I'm from Bournemouth originally. I was born in Poole, and I live there, but I work in and around this area. And yeah, it's a pleasure to visit with Belly today.
Yay! All right. First thing that we want to know. I know that you have 2 books already in Amazon and you have physically,
Yes.
right? Okay. Can you tell me a bit about what they are about and basically why did you decide to come forward and just start to write your own books?
Take that off you again. Yeah. Well, the idea sort of came about. I was always writing from a really young age, sort of like from 4 or 5 years old, and decided as time went on, like when I was 15, I really have this clear image of a little town where everyone's got a mystery about themselves, every single person. And I just decided I was in love with the works of Charles Dickens, Jane Austen, those kind of people. And I thought it would be brilliant if those sorts of people all lived in the same community and they all had a mystery about themselves. And so that's when I sort of started putting pen to paper or fingers to keyboard on the first one.
This one is.
I wrote this one first, but I published it second. That is that's a story in and of itself. And then
So this one is the first book.
yeah. So Lust in Liberty, which I published in 2018. I actually wrote second, rather confusingly. I did a sort of reverse Star Wars. I decided I'm going to write them in reverse order and then publish them in the right way. Yeah, they're sort of they are mysteries first and foremost. The first one has a bit of a romantic subplot to it. The second one is more crime thriller kind of thing. They're both set in sort of 1800s England. And yeah, they've been sort of happily acclaimed. A lot of people don't normally go for the sort of the historical fiction, or so they've been telling me, some of my readers, that it's not the sort of thing they usually go towards, but they're really happy to have read them. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, I think that I love literature. For me, it's something really important in my life. I used to write when I was very, very young, but I don't know, for me it's very difficult because for me, when I was writing something, when I was like, I don't know, 11, 10, 14, I was going to a very deep place. Like I was so depressed when I was writing because I started to feel like, it's very bad to say, but I started to feel that the people around or the people that were studying with me were not exactly the same person that I would like to talk about my writings. For example, they didn't like books, they didn't like to read, they didn't like for example, Edgar Allan Poe, stuff like that. They were looking something different, like parties, and I was not used to at the time because I was very young, to be honest.
Sure.
Of course, I love parties. I'm Latin, you know. But at the time, for me, it was difficult to deal with that. That's why I stopped writing, and I definitely will not write again. I don't know. Yeah, because for me, the inspirations to write, it means that I have to be very depressed, or I don't know. That's the way.
I guess I understand where you're coming from there. I mean, the thing that sort of drove me to write the second book was at a point in my life where I'd lost a very close member of my family. And like you say, it was sort of like a retreating into myself and just making one thing my focus. And I think grief or depression, like you say, it can be either a really good thing in the sense that you can just retreat into yourself and focus on that one thing, or it just robs you of all your motivation and you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Which is also fine. But yeah, I think it's quite a powerful sort of driving force towards creating something that is that you love at the end of the day. I think J.K. Rowling was a similar in a similar mindset when she finally sort of sat down to write Harry Potter. She was in this really bad state of mind.
We love Harry Potter in this channel.
We do. I do as well. And I think as I say, I think it's a really powerful thing. I think any emotion really, whether you're in a really good place in your life, whether you're in a really bad place in your life, you can turn that into a work of, well, any creative work. It doesn't necessarily have to be fiction. It can be on camera like we are now, or whatever. People are doing a lot of podcasts now.
Yeah, because it's something like people is using. Thank you. People is using a lot. Basically, for me, I was doing poems, and that's why it's very weird, because I was very young. Whatever. I'm not going there again at the moment. I'm not thinking of that, but I still love reading a lot. So sometimes I can read like 5 books per day, like super small books.
Yeah, I was going to say, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, no,
I'm reading
super
those
small.
in the day.
Like I don't know, baby books, books for kids or something like that. Just to remind myself that I love reading.
Yeah.
Sometimes I stop reading, but yeah, that is something that is constantly in my life. So books are amazing because it's a distraction and it's not exactly a fiction or it's not exactly biography. It's whatever you want. It's like YouTube. You know, it's a channel where you can learn, you can practice, and as I'm learning a new language, that's a perfect way to learn because you can see, you can read, and you can try to understand what they're saying. So yeah, that's good. Now that we're talking about the kind of disadvantage in my case, talking about writing, what can you tell to the community for the people that want to start to write a book? Because I want to create a book myself, but something different, something happy, not something sad that I was thinking before.
Sure.
So can you tell the people, the community, what exactly do you think that can be the advantage, disadvantage?
Well, I like to say, I mean, there's probably no amount of things that you need before you start to write a book, but I have narrowed it down to 5 key things that you need even before you consider sitting down and planning. Because the first thing about being a writer is not easy. A lot of people think that you can just sit down one day at your kitchen table with your laptop, type out anything, and then upload it to Amazon and make loads of money. It's not that at all. It's a lifestyle choice. It's not just a career or an ambition, it is a lifestyle choice being a writer. And as I say, I narrow it down to 5 things that you kind of need to even be remotely on the right path to becoming a writer. They are time and commitment, kind of one and the same really. You need time, and there's no sense in starting if you're not going to finish, so commitment is another thing. You need to be able to do your research, so reading is always a good thing, but research skills of any sort is of a great advantage. The 4th thing is an original idea, a good original idea. I despair anytime I hear someone who says, oh yeah, I'd love to be a writer, I really want to write a good fantasy novel, or I really want to write something in sci-fi, because there's such saturated genres. If anyone can come up with something that isn't at least half inspired by something that came from Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or some such, then yeah, it must be worth reading. But 95% of the time, people will say it's sort of like Game of Thrones, or it's sort of like Lord of the Rings, but it is different, but it really isn't.
It's like Dune.
Well, Dune's was sort of a front runner, you know, in sci-fi. So I mean that's acceptable. But then there will be a lot of people. There will be a lot of people who will come along and say, yeah, I've got this really great sci-fi novel. It's kind of like Dune, or it's kind of like Star Wars, but it isn't. It's different. It's different in X, Y, Z, and again, it rarely actually is. You do find the parallels. And then the 5th bit, which is perhaps most important, is a unique voice. There's no point in writing. It's nice to be influenced by people, inspired by people, but at the same time, you have to make it your own. You have to have people say, when they're reading your work, I can hear your voice when I read this. So those are sort of the advantages, I think. But I think they're disadvantages as well, in the sense that a lot of people think they have time to sit down and write a book, they don't. If they have kids, if they have pets even. I mean, I did manage to get by with a family dog and managed to write those, but we had other people looking after her as well. So yeah, you have to, so as I said, it's like a lifestyle choice. You have to almost create the rest of your life around it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much sums it up, I think.
Yeah, and one thing that also I would like to know is, how did you decide to just move to do something that you really love? I mean, how did you said like, yeah, I want to become a writer, or I want to write a book, and that's it? Because it's very difficult to step forward that much.
It was always,
because I want to write a book, but it's not like, okay, I'm going to do it now. How when did you decide that you want to do it, and when did you said like it's now?
Yeah, it had always been a pipe dream. As I say, I started those when I was 15. So I was still at school. I think in my really immature brain, it was like, yeah, if I get this out, if I write this and I publish it, then I can get loads of money and I don't have to finish school. It was a really daft thing to think at the time.
Probably, we don't know.
Obviously, it took it took 8 years. No, yeah, something like that to get the first one out. And I quit my job in 2018. I quit my job in the March and then made a decision, yeah, I'm going to become a freelance journalist, because that was what my background is in. I wasn't getting anywhere while still working in hospitality, so I decided, yeah, need to get out there, need to give myself the reason, the excuse to finally get on with that. And while I was there, I thought, well, I'm going to have all this spare time. This book has been sitting in my laptop, a draft that I keep writing and rewriting and editing and redrafting. I need to finish it properly and just bite the bullet, upload it to Amazon and get it done. Because I'd done a load of research about publishing on Amazon before. It seemed pretty easy, it seemed pretty reliable. It wasn't like a scam, because that was the thing I was sort of worried about, trying to self-publishing with various sites. I thought, am I going to lose money along the way somewhere? But it was actually quite easy. The only thing I really paid for was to have the cover designed. The covers designed, both of my illustrators did fantastic work. If you've seen the covers, which you have, they are one of the best things about it, I think.
Who illustrate them?
So the first one was illustrated by a designer called Dan Lipski, and who at the time lived in Southampton. He now lives back in Poland. And the second one is by a friend of mine called Michał Milsiałek, who lives in Poole as well.
Local talent again.
Yes, local talent. Well, this is the thing. I like collaborating with local people anyway, much like we are now. And so yeah, it was more a sense of, I need to get it done and out there, because if it's done and out there, I can't work on it anymore. I can move on to the next thing, to the next project. Yeah. And so yeah, that was the sort of the final driving force, and we published it the May of that year, 2018.
Yay! All right. So one of the most important things, as far as I understood, just get done. Like, do what you have to do. Like, do the checklist. You can have your checklist, what you want to do, and every year you can do something. And you did your book in 2018. You decide like, today is the day, and that's it. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing everything. Is there anything that you would like to say to my community? How would you invite the people to come to Bournemouth, for example?
Well,
and how you motivate people to keep writing and coming to Bournemouth, like all things together?
I mean, in terms of getting people to come to Bournemouth, just look around. It's irresistible, even at this time of year. It is irresistible. It's such a beautiful place. If you are sort of into your literature, we have a really deep literary heritage. Mary Shelley, creator of Frankenstein, is buried here. J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings, he died in Poole, just up the road.
Wow!
He wrote and holidayed in the Hotel Miramar, which is up there somewhere, just behind us. Yeah, we've got an amazing heritage. I don't include myself necessarily in said heritage, although maybe one day.
One day, yeah.
But yeah, just come on down. We're a beautiful place at any time of year. Better in the summer, admittedly. And as for writing, I mean, yeah, just remember those 5 things that I mentioned earlier in the interview, and it is definitely possible. Just stick to it. If you feel like you've got the idea, you've got a story to tell, at the end of the day, society was founded on stories and the telling and retelling of stories, but you can only tell a story if someone's written it down first. So that's what I say.
All right.
Thank you, Belly. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
No, thank you very much. And don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, hit the notifications bell, and always keep writing, reading, or do whatever you want.
Yep.
Always be creative and move forward to something that you really wish. So, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.